What's up, Wargamers? Today we've got Adeptus Custodes Captain-General Trajann Valoris. We're also using our brand new Canon camera for the first time, doing it on a pre-record, so we'll see how this goes, but we'll hopefully get a much better visual quality out of this. So what we're going to do is open this up, take a look at the contents, and we are prepared to put that together. So we've got our Citadel plastic glue, which is great for gluing together plastic, and our Citadel clippers. So let's go ahead and open this box up, and let's get this bad mamma jamma put together so we can do a later video on painting them. But first and foremost, let's get him onto the shelf with the rest of the Custodes. The rest of the army is coming along nicely. I've almost got the Custodian Guard finalized, like putting those guys together, but I don't yet, and I do have my two Contemptor Dreadnoughts put together from Forge World, but I don't yet have everything else put together. But I did get in the Custodian Wardens and the Valoris Custodians, as well as the new White Dwarf. So here's a little booklet about Captain-General Trajann Valoris, and we'll go with the instructions on how to get him put together. Inside here we're going to get two sprues, so we'll examine those closely, and we'll get the 40mm base to go with them. So we'll set the other part aside. Let's take a look at the sprues, which hopefully you guys will be able to see. Let's adjust the lighting a little bit. There we go. Alright, so already digging the video quality on this Canon camera versus the webcam. So we've got his Watcher's axe. It's a special version of the axe, much stronger than the regular axe that comes with the new kits, and I'm really loving the stats on the axe. Chest plate, the Eagles part of the shoulder pad. Okay, so it looks like we got two Eagle shoulder pads. All right, here's that lion's head that's going to go on over top of one of them, I suppose. His legs, his cape, his body, pretty standard. So let's go ahead and let's start following along with these instructions. So let's have a look here, and starts off with pieces 1, 2, and 3. I like it when they're sequentially numbered. It's a lot easier to figure things out that way. So let's go ahead and clip out number 3. Now, these Citadel clippers, if you haven't picked these up, these are way better than most other hobby clippers out there. And I picked them up in the Hobby Essentials kit that came with a little bit of the plastic glue, but it was the thick kind. I prefer the thin plastic glue. It's way better. But they seem to cut way closer to the model at a much flatter line, so there's a lot less to have to clean up later. Like with the other ones I had picked up at the hobby store that were just more for like general hobby, they required a lot of cleanup with an X-Acto knife or razor blade afterwards, and this one cuts so close that you can just kind of come in and trim off any excess flash. So now we'll grab the next piece. Definitely recommend using the Citadel plastic glue. You might have another preference of your own, but if you haven't tried it, it's definitely worth a try. These are about $6. Each one could glue together like an army, basically. So nothing to be ashamed of there, or afraid of there, I should say. Now we're going to go ahead and open it up. Now this one's almost empty, but I've got two more on standby because you just never know when you're going to run out, and it always sucks when you do. So this generally never really clogs, except when you're recording it for your YouTube channel, of course. We'll have to see how the audio does as well on this. This is the onboard audio on the Canon SL2. Comment below what you guys think about this. I had been using my Blue microphone, but I'm having trouble getting the Canon set up with OBS for recording with the overlays, so technical difficulties, I suppose. We'll overcome those in future videos, hopefully. Unless we just do things this way, in which case this is a much smoother concept. So let's go ahead and bust out one of those other bottles of plastic glue. We'll set that one on its side. Shake it up. I don't know if that's ever required. So hopefully you guys can hear me. We're just kind of doing this as a live run. However it sounds is how it's going to sound. Alright, So we've got the front and back of his chest plate put up. Let's see what we need to do next. Hopefully I didn't have to sandwich those on anything here. About to find out. Alright, so we got him. I'm doing a horrible job of showing you guys this. I'm just so excited to be getting him glued together. Okay, now we need part 4. The Citadel glue dries rather quick. I mean, it's already kind of tacky. It's definitely not dry. You're going to want to let it cure. But now we need part 4, which is this little piece of armor to protect the thighs. I don't know the technical term. And this is going to mount up right there. Yep, oop. One of the things that makes it difficult to do the live assemblies is that it just takes forever. Sometimes for glue to dry. It's like watching paint dry. And I'm going to rush it just a little bit if we can. If not, I'll speed things up, hopefully in post-production. We're already on to part number 5. So he's going to go together kind of easy. But his stats are beastly. I mean, this guy is got to be one of the strongest humanoid characters in the entire game. I don't know all the stats of everything now in the new edition, but I'd say arguably he just actually might be one of the strongest characters in the game. Certainly heavy on the power side. Be interesting to see how he plays on the tabletop and how opponents take to you fielding him. I used to never really be a fan of... Uh-oh. Trying to talk and chew gum at the same time here. Not working out for me. Something doesn't seem to be lining up with this. Sanity check. Should probably get it out of the way here. I am not an expert. We're just having fun doing this, right? Or at least I am, because I'm the one putting together the models. Alright, so step number 6, or piece number 6, we got to get his other leg. So we got to put a little bit of glue onto where the knee joint is, and then get that cemented onto there. So this is how we're doing so far. Alright, now we need to get a little piece of rock. So here we go. Number 7. It's a lot less intimidating putting together these single character kits than it is sometimes having to sit down and put together all the regiments and stuff, or the squads. So put some glue there. Alright. So it gives them sort of a little epic pose, a little bit of basing material on there. Step number 8, we got to go for the other little thigh plate. So let's go ahead and trim that off. I've been trying to hunt down that Retributor Gold spray at a couple of the local hobby stores. None of them seem to have it. And I know it's on the pricey side, but I was thinking that with all the models that I've got to paint, it might be something advantageous to get some of that and then weather it with some wash. Alright, so we're on to page number 2. So we got to get parts number 9 and 10 to build out his right arm, which is on our left. So number 10 is one of these shoulder pads. It's got part of his cape attached to it. So we're going to carefully clip that off. Ooh, it's got a big piece there. Alright, that's going to require a little bit of cleaning up. I try not to ever clip off more than what's necessary, because then you end up with gaps and stuff. So where's part number 9? That might be on here. Alright, So be careful with this part where it's like the top of his sword, the handle. So this is going to be the hand that holds on to the Watcher's axe. It's got a, don't trim off this little nub that's there. It's got a little nub. You'd be alright if you did by accident, but alright. So let's get the glue. I test fit it. It's always kind of smart to test fit pieces. I've learned the hard way, and I still make mistakes. But it's got a little nub that's going to go into it here, just like that. Alright, perfect. Oh, squeeze a little bit of that plastic glue out. Now we're going to assemble that here. Let's go for a test fit. Let's find out all the places that we need to know for glue contact. So I know I need to clean that up there. We got to run along the cape and the hand. Oh, there's a little bit of tackiness. Oh no, come on now. Alright, so we're going to need to put some glue on the shoulder socket, all down the cape. And squeeze. Plastic glue seems to be a pretty decent gap filler too. I know it's probably not the best gap filler to use, but we use it. Here's how we're going along so far. Not a lot of contrast in the lighting at this point. Sorry about that. Now we're going to build out his next arm, which is going to require parts 11 and 12. So he's got a hand. He's going to be holding on to his cape. Right now it just looks like it's hanging down. He's got a nice little detail. He's got a lion on the on part of the armor there, protecting his wrist. I know there's technical terms for all these things. I just never really cared to learn what all the armor pieces are. Watch out. All right. So now we're going to need to put some glue here. Oop. There we go. And let's see what, with a little test fitting, what all that ties into. Oh, more than you would have thought. So, okay, so we need to add some glue here to the shoulder socket and then all down this little cape. I probably put too much glue on there. But one of the things that the plastic glue does that super glue doesn't do is it kind of like chemically softens the plastics while it's wet, and then when they dry they fuse together. It makes them really hard to get apart later, which is great when you're talking about building a gaming piece. If you would put these together with super glue, not only would your fingers be sticking to it, but you would also have it potentially get brittle and break on you and sometime down the line, even while you're painting it sometimes. So I'm at the point of this model where even though it doesn't say to glue him onto his base, I think I'm ready to glue him onto his base. I'm going to break the rules here. So let's do that. All right. And let's let him sit for a few seconds. So, all right, now the next step, I'm looking at this, we're going to need part number 13. So I've identified that. That's going to be this part of the cape with the lion's paw. All right, so we're going to trim that off, get that ready while we give the old Captain-General. Captain-General is kind of an interesting rank. Being from the U.S. military, it's not a rank I'm familiar with. You have Brigadier General, Major General, Lieutenant General, and then General. So Captain-General maybe is somehow supposedly higher in this fictional military, or what? Oh, okay, interesting. So this has got a texture inside of it that matches the texture here, which is going to be nice. That's where we're going to end up placing it, and it's got a little reference dot to help us figure out where the heck it's got to mount to. So part of it's got to go on, definitely requiring and I'd be way off, man. It's supposed to be on this side. All right, that's where it's gonna go. So weird, they're building detail that you're gonna obscure. So that's cool. Guess that gives you some potential. You could do him without the lions part on him. Maybe that was done to appease the PETA people who got upset that there's too much fur on Space Marines. So they can have the vegan-friendly version of the model. Who knows? That'd be real interesting if there was an agenda behind that. Games Workshop. In case you don't know, they did receive complaints that the use of animal furs was upsetting. You know, somehow in the year 40,000 they'd be abolished with that by then. All kinds of things you could potentially get upset about if you're looking to get upset. So let's test fit. This is the lion's head. All right. So we're gonna add the glue. How's that looking? Getting better by the minute. We're coming into the home stretch here. We've got part number 16 to clip out, little tiny piece. Holy moly. Smallest piece in this set. All right. That one's gonna go right here in this little void. Okay, so we've got just a tiny amount of glue there. I'm going to rotate this until the star fits. There we go. Found its little happy place, Bob Ross style. We're going to need part number 15. That's going to be this eagle's shield with feathers. Now this guy is in charge of 10,000 of the Adeptus Custodes, which is a lot more than being in charge of an entire chapter of Space Marines, right? Because Space Marines are about 1,000. And that number probably varies, but I've always thought of the Space Marine chapters. You have the companies, which usually are about 100 Space Marines per company. And you've got 10 or so companies per chapter. Just generally speaking, I don't follow up on all the lore. I don't write the books, I don't read the books. Met some of the people who do. Long time ago, I used to be friends with some of those guys, mainly through work. Holy Moses, that's gonna cover his face. Okay, much better. Good thing I didn't let that just slide. Whew. All right. Oh, I know, it's always fun when it's everything's grayscale. Would have been interesting had they done this guy in the colored plastic. That would have been something different. Part number 17, right here. Not sure if it's a relic. Doubtful. Probably just a piece of war gear. Not even sure what it is. Where the heck is it supposed to go according to the instructions? On his belt. Okay, fancy that. Little dot of plastic glue. Oh. So much effort. Such little reward. It's It's all the little details, man. Makes it worthwhile. Because I guess they could have done less in terms of the design, but they felt like that piece of war gear was worth tooling up a piece on the cast. So the mold. All right, now we're going to get his hand on finally. Let's go ahead and get some glue on there. Put a little glue, anticipating that the eagle's head will rest somewhere on the ground. Yeah, it looks like the eagle's head just barely touches that piece of rock he's standing on. So if you add glue to that component, you're going to get a little bit more stability out of it in terms of gaming. Now if you're looking at doing it for like painting up a golden demon, you wouldn't probably add glue to the bottom because it's going to take away some of the detail in the long run. But we're building this, we're a budget wargamer, we're building it as a wargame piece. That's how we roll. Last piece, the crowning achievement. His head. On with his head! Ah! The heads will roll. That's with his axe. You better believe it. Oh, oh. Now he doesn't look as old in the plastic, I suppose, as the paint job makes him look. So you could do him as a younger version of himself if you didn't want him to be so old. That is so hard to see with the contrast. Let's go ahead and let's turn off the lighting and see if we get better natural white balance. Absolutely not. Alright, my apologies. Thanks for sticking around. I'll see if I can get some close-up shots of this guy for you. We'll take the Canon off and get him some close-ups so you guys can appreciate him as he stands. This is Budget Wargamer coming at you with another video of the hobby. Stay tuned for more.